Welcome to Abu Dhabi and a new season of the Red Bull Air Race World Series Championship, where 14 of the best pilots in the world navigate a racetrack set afloat the crystal blue waters of the Arabian Gulf, all in hopes of claiming the crown in the fastest motorsport series on earth. I'm Mike Galloway, and with me in the booth is two-time Red Bull Air Race World Champion Mike Mangold. Mike, this track has proven to be no easy task for our racers.
That's true. It's the heat and the changing winds. As we look at what happened in the round of 14, we saw some uncharacteristic flying in these matchups. Start off with Hannes Ark going against Matthias Zolder.
Yeah, there was some great action as we recap all the action in the round of 14. Hannes Ark ends up prevailing, winning the heat, but Zolder had a pretty good time at 58.698 seconds. And remember, in the first round, the round of 14, besides the 7 winners, the fastest loser advances. Now next to the next action, that Shanka versus Yoshi. Yoshi's been flying well all week long. Shanka was coming along strong, but I think penalties got the better of him, Mike.
Right, he's getting for incorrect level on gate number 5. Uncharacteristic, but Yoshi's kind of putting it all together here, peaking at the right time. He's happy to move on. Our rookie, Francois Lebeau against Matt Hall. You know, although Matt Hall hit a gate, he was still able to beat Francois' time and move on.
That just is a testament to how fast Matt Hall has that MXSR racer. There's that gate strike. No problem, though, because he was still better than 2 seconds ahead of the rookie Francois Lebeau. That puts Matt Hall into the round of 8. Francois left packing, setting up for the next race in Japan.
Boy, this matchup here, we're going to see it again between the two Brits, Lamb and Bonhomme. Both put down some spectacular times. The loser, Nigel Lamb, at 57.18 was the fastest loser and moves on to the round of 8. And who's he paired up against? The #1 seed, Paul Bonhomme.
Yeah, it was really disappointing, or I say unfortunate, to have two of our more favorite racers, Paul Bonhomme and Nigel Lamb, battling it out early on in the round of 14. But besides Nigel Lamb and Paul Bonhomme, the most interested person in this race was, of course, Matthias Zolder, because he was holding on to the fastest loser time at 58.68. There's Bonham's winning time, the only pilot under 57 seconds. Now let's take a shot at Zolder in just a second. We'll see his reaction. Paul Bonhomme wins the heat. He moves on, but Lamb with 57.108 outpaces Zolder and sets up for the rematch. There's Zolder. He's waving at the camera, but he is not happy. There's Nigel Lamb moving on to the round of 8. We'll see him again, Mike.
Yeah, I think that was Matthias before Nigel flew. He's got to be unhappy or crying right now, but Matthias out, Nigel Lamb moving forward.
Okay, our first matchup is going to be Hannes Ark and Peter Besenyei in the round of 8. It looks like Besenyei is just trying to get rid of Ark altogether.
Already.
He says, moving his plane out of the way.
Right. Get him out of there.
There's a good there's a live shot now of Hannes Ark being set up. Okay, here's the round of 8. This is how it works. No more fastest loser. It's going to be a battle here. Red Bull sponsor Peter Besenyei and very much crowd favorite Hannes Ark to start us off. But look at that final pairing. Lamb and Bonhomme. It's going to be a repeat. Deja vu all over again as we see those two race. Let's check out Hannes Ark, racer number 22. He's going to go first.
Hannes Ark, Austria.
So my goal for 2015 is to be better than last year. So, well, it's trying to be world champion this year.
Kind of a generic goal, I guess. Of course, everyone wants to be world champion. Hannes has been very successful. Last year, a bit of a disappointment considering the fact that he was running away with the field up until they got over the land courses, and then he had to struggle. I don't know if there's really correlations there or not, Mike, but that's how it played out. Live shot now of the crew back there at the race airport, very anxiously awaiting the outcome. Hannes has to have a good run here. You would expect him to beat Besenyei, but hey, anything can happen. This is the Red Bull Air Race.
Yep, Hannes the favorite in this pairing. He just needs to do what he did in the last one, which is fly clean, and I think he's certainly capable of it. The winds are a bit different than what we saw before, mostly out of the north, so the cross went totally from the other direction from what they've been training. And no major penalties, no overspeeds, no over-Gs. Hannes should move on.
Number 22 are cleared into the track. Smoke on.
Remember, the winner of this heat Pardon me as I stepped over Hannes Ark. That was his reply to race director Jim DiMatteo. The winner of this heat moves on to the Final Four. No more fastest loser. You must win your heat to move on. 4 individual races within the race, if you will. Hannes Ark coming in at 200 knots right at the...
That's what I told you.
You gotta be kidding me.
So it's only a 1-second penalty because he's not way over. But these are the kind of things that Hannes doesn't need to do, especially now in this round. So as he goes through the track, line looks good. Nice control of the airplane. He's dealing with this left to right crosswind, clean through 5 as he goes to gate number 6. Little pop up there. He's slapping his wings again. He's got to watch that he shows level through the pylons.
Well, he already has a 1-second penalty for exceeding the start speed. The start speed is 200 knots. There is about a little over a knot buffer, but so luckily he was in the buffer range. If you go to 202, it's a disqualification.
As he goes through gate number 3 again, or 10, second, he's just slow getting the wings level. He's low out there close to the water. This is why risk it when you're going up against Peter Besenyei. So, you know, Hannes maybe tactically not the best flying here. It certainly looks like a credible run other than that start penalty. Let's see how he finishes.
Number 22 Ark, 59.760 seconds. That includes a 1-second penalty for exceeding the start speed.
Okay, Hannes Ark.
And you are cleared RTB.
That was a live reaction from Hannes Ark, kind of giving him the hang loose signal. He was in Hawaii all summer long. Let's take us through the replay.
What he did is he's pushing his throttle forward just a little bit too soon, and he starts to accelerate before he passes through the start gate. One of those little very attention to detail things that you've got to manage when you're out here in the course. But watch as he goes through. The chicane is rather normal for him, but these other gates, he's got to give a good presentation of wings level through the 2 open gates, and this is where the judges are watching every little move.
Okay, next up, Peter Besenyei.
Hungary. At the beginning of the season, I tried to do my best with my plane as it is now, and later on we have some plans for some bigger modifications.
Cleared into the track.
The only pilot flying the Corvus Racer, the Hungarian godfather of the sport, Peter Besenyei. All he has to beat is 59.76. Mike, he has flown better than that during the training sessions earlier this week. I'm telling you, it's going to be very close to see if Peter Besenyei
Number 91 Besenyei cleared into the track. Smoke on.
All right, Peter, all business, not going to answer. 63 was his time in the round of 14 with a 2-second penalty. You know, it's going to take a miracle for Peter to move on. But let's see. Anything can happen right through the start gate. He's, you know, a lot of momentum here. Nice maneuvering straight through that chicane. Gate number 3. He's nice presentation. A little bit high, but not as high as he was in the round of 14 as he goes from gate 3 to 4. This is where the crosswind's coming from the pilot's left to the right. You see him make a little adjustment hanging on the turn. He's clean through 5. Very aggressive turn into 6. Scrubs off some speed. Now sinking around. He needs to do that. Wide as he comes around 7 through the start-finish gate. Adjustment into the chicane.
Okay, halfway through the course, and he's just 3/10 behind the pace of Hannes Ark. This is going to be very close, I'm telling you. Peter Besenyei just may be the lucky pilot this weekend, as he sort of got a pass through to the round of 8s, but now it's all for the marbles. The winner of this heat goes on to the Final Four. It's going to come down to this, Mike.
Up and down and out, too. He's struggling on the back course out here. Did Hannes Ark lay off too much? We're going to know here soon. There's Peter climbing and descending again, so he's scrubbing off some speed. Whoa, that's close.
This is going to be very close.
91 Besenyei, 59.852. That holds you in 2nd place for your heat.
How close do you like it, Mike? 9/100ths of a second separated Hannes Ark and Peter Besenyei. Now we're cooking here in Abu Dhabi. That was a great first heat.
Peter's got some stuff going on here. He's nice straight entry to chicane, much good momentum. Even though Hannes oversped at the start, Peter's a nice line through here. So this is an improvement in Peter's flying. Unfortunately, he's going up against one of the best in Hannes Ark, so very difficult to beat, but he made it a race. I'll tell you, that was a great heat right there between these two.
Yeah, that was a fantastic race, a really good heat. And like I said, it's sort of like 4 little races within the overall race. And we are going right Into the next action, it's going to be Pete Mcleod, the Canadian, the youngest pilot, versus Yoshi Muroya. Yoshi on some momentum, I would say. He's doing pretty well. Let's check in now with Pete Mcleod.
Pete Mcleod, Canada.
Naturally, my goals are always to win, but I just want to go out there and I'd like to be in the final round every race, put myself on the podium, and try to win as many races as I can.
Well, if he wants to accomplish his goal and put himself onto the podium, he must beat Yoshi Muroya. Pete has the disadvantage, as you alluded to, of flying first. I guess you would have to give a slight edge to Yoshi on that. That's because Pete's time was slower than Yoshi's. Seated below Yoshi in the round of 14. But here comes the Canadian. Let's check in with race director Jim DiMatteo.
Number 84 Mcleod cleared into the track. Smoke on.
No response from Pete. He's all business. He's watching his airspeed. He's right at the limit. He's throttled back a bit, as you can see, as we watch him coming in. Is his lineup perfect for the chicane? Looks like it. Look at that. Straight into the chicane. That's the way you want to start. Nice little cadence through there. Checks right, back left to go through gate number 3. Clean, a little wide coming out of number 3. So it's a longer turn as he heads back to number 4 in the backstretch. You see the turn adjustment and bank angle. So he's changing what's going on. The winds are affecting him. He's clean through pylon 5. Here comes 6. Nice pre-turn. This is a nice turn around 7. Look at his altitude in the red band as he starts the second lap. He's got a nice straight entry. One of the best lines we've seen here, right into the chicane from the start-finish gate over to gate number 3. Clean presentation. This is some good flying. He's a little bit late starting that turn out of 3, but it's clean overall.
He's going to set the mark that Yoshi must beat. This is the Canadian flying first. Remember, it doesn't matter what happened in the elapsed times of the previous heat. This is head-to-head. All he has to do is beat Yoshi. Final push for home. Let's check in with race director Jim DiMatteo for the official call.
And a penalty.
Number 84 Mcleod, 59.116 seconds. No penalties.
Thanks, Jimmy. 84.
And you're cleared R2B.
Okay, a 59.1. That is not the best effort by the Canadian Pete Mcleod. I can tell you that right now. He has flown much faster than that in training.
As we see Pete coming in here, he was flying spot on through that start-finish gate into the chicane. There's no need to maneuver, so he's got the line that works. As you see him go through, this is the very finish of the race, and he's pulling up. But he's got that line nailed, start-finish into the chicane.
All right, coming up next, Yoshi from Japan. We're going to be going to Japan on our next stop.
Yoshihide Muroya, Japan.
I'm aiming for the podium for all the races, because
well, short and sweet. He's aiming for the podium for all the races. Well, that's good, Yoshi, and you have your opportunity right now. You must fly faster than 59 seconds, 59.1 to be exact, and Yoshi is certainly capable of that.
First concrete thing any of the pilots have said when you ask them what your goals are. I think that's a great goal. Just be on the podium. That's what Nigel Lamb did here. Nigel only had 1 win, and he wins the World Championship with 1 win, a whole load of seconds, a 5th and an 8th. So put those numbers together. Yoshi, that's a good plan.
It would be a great way to start the 2015 Red Bull Air Race World Championships with a podium position, or at least a shot on the podium. The only way to get there, he must fly faster than 59.1.
Number 31 Muroya cleared into the track. Smoke on.
Okay, no real response from Yoshi. It's all business, as you say. Let's take a good note of that entry speed. It must be below 200 knots, and it is.
Little maneuver before the chicane, so he had to adjust. That cost, tenths or hundredths of a second. Late getting the wings level, and 3 as he works over to 4, a slight climb. And now he's going to set up for these S-turns and the left to right crosswind that's come up here. Clean through 5, over to gate number 6. Nice pre-turn prior to 6. You see him stepping on that bottom rudder to stay down in the red zone around gate 7. Through the start-finish gate, as you see that nice overhead graphic. Look at the line into the chicane.
Yeah, let's check out his intermediate splits. He's pretty close, only 2/10 off the pace of Pete Mcleod. Pete Mcleod a little bit conservative in my opinion, but maybe that's a good thing. Last year, Pete had a couple of problems with exceeding the start speed of the G limit, which put him out of competition. But it's all about Yoshi now, Mike. 2 more gates to go. Must be 59.1 second. And this is going to be very close. 2 heats in a row. Who will pull through?
Number 31, Muroya, 59.597 seconds. No penalties, but that holds you as the second place for your heat. You're cleared RTB.
Very disappointing.
You know, this is really, really tight here. You know, we've seen 2 of these head-to-head heats, and they're separated by tenths of a second. So we're going to see Yoshi come in here into the chicane, I believe, and he's got a little bit of a speed difference off of Pete Mcleod. So you see the little ghost airplane. Mcleod is the dark one. Yoshi's faster than him, but Pete is lagging him here, but the line is cleaner. Pete Mcleod's line is cleaner, and this is why he's pulling ahead. As we see the airplane starting the turn, and now Yoshi's using that altitude advantage to come down. So it shows you how tight these racers are.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's close. I mean, the Red Bull Air Race World Championship is clearly the fastest motorsport series on planet Earth, and it's clearly the most competitive, especially when you get to the round of 8. How close do you like the action? Just watch. Great crowd shots here on the beaches in the Corniche area in Abu Dhabi, a beautiful city with fantastic skyline, majestic views over there at the race airport. That looks like that is Paul Bonhomme, if I'm correct. There, Mike. Yes, that's Paul Bonhomme and Nigel Lamb. That's our another head-to-head, not the next race, but the one after the final heat. The 2 Brits are going to battle it out. Only one will move on to the Final 4. We're going to see him twice. This is going to be a huge race. Cannot wait to see this one. It can go either way. It was so close in the round of 14. Both of the pilots with faster times than anyone has flown so far in this round of 8.
Next coming up is Nicholas and Matt Hall. Nicholas, of course, picking up penalties in the round of 14. A little dirty flying, as did Matt Hall for hitting a pylon. So this is kind of a test for these 2. Who can fly clean will probably beat the other one. Neither can afford to incur a penalty, because then they're giving up 2 seconds to the other. So I think, and as we've seen in the first 2, we're in for another real close battle in this round of 8.
Oh, yeah. Less than half of a second has separated the winner from the loser in each of our first 2 heats. Coming up next, like you say, Ivanoff and Hall, this is going to be very close. But right now, we're going to go over to the race airport and visit with our first winner that moves on to the Final 4, Jonathan Lagarde with Hannes.
Hannes, first through in the round of 14, first through in the round of 8. How much of an advantage is it to go first in these heats?
Actually, for me, it's an advantage because I just love to race my time and my race, so I'm not stressed by others. From that point of view, with this system, I think it's an advantage.
And in terms of the way things are going, how happy are you at the moment? You're through then to the Final 4?
Well, for sure, I'm happy. I really focused on clean flying. I mean, I was lucky against Peter. Now it's about the fastest time, so I'm shooting for it.
Thanks very much.
Hannes has stumbled on something that is perhaps very true, and that is going first. Look how rested he is. He's cooling his body down. He's out of the airplane. He's watching the other guys. He's got the opportunity to go to school on what the other pilots are doing. So maybe this was unforeseen. Going first in the early pairings in the round of 14 and 8 has given Hannes, I think, a very critical advantage as far as watching, getting rested, and being ready for the round of 4.
That's a very valid point. You know, something that you don't normally think of. You would like to go second in a heat race, but not in this case. Both pilots that flew first, Ark and Mcleod, winning their respective heats. Coming up next, if it goes true to form, Ivanoff would win. And check it out on the final race, if we go true to form, Nigel Lamb, coming out of nowhere, has had a rough all week long in training, qualifying, etc. But perhaps luck is on his side. It takes skill, Mike, but maybe a little bit of luck and things going your way too.
Yeah, there's some luck involved, unfortunately, in this round of 8. They want the fastest pilot to move through, but I think in anything you do, there's that weather factor, there's the timing, so many things that you have to control, as I said earlier, to get through this track. So, yeah, maybe you call it luck. It's circumstances, and sometimes they go your way.
Beautiful views here in Abu Dhabi as we have another heat forthcoming with Nicholas Ivanoff. There's a good shot of the Frenchman with the Hamilton team and that beautiful Edge 540 V3. Going to battle it out against Matt Hall, the Australian who's been super hot all week and very fast. There's Nicholas Ivanoff on the left. 4 wins to his credit.
Nicolas Ivanoff, France. For 2015, of course, the goal is to do at least the same as 2014, more victories, and also I hope that World Championship will be good for me.
Well, sure, winning the championship would be fantastic, and he's diving into the track now.
Wow, just got that smoke on in time, Nicholas, just before the start gate. So no penalty for that as he goes through gate number 3. He's throwing that airplane around. He's got to stay clean. You don't want to give Matt Hall any advantage. As he goes through gate number 4, clean. 5, he's got to deal with that crosswind. He's clean. As he sets up for 6, you're seeing him making some turns right there. And they're already getting him for that incorrect level in gate 3, as we said. But nonetheless, as he starts his second lap, he's still got to push it because Matt Hall can make a mistake. Oh, late in that chicane. He's behind right now, and you're going to see him. He's catching up, but he's perhaps, throwing the airplane around just fine, a little bit sloppy.
He won the last race last year in 2014 in Austria, but not looking too good for Ivanoff now. In fact, he won twice in 2014.
Yeah, as he comes around
his time.
Gate 6, he's staying in the zone on 7, but just pushing a little bit too much, got a little off his game. It's not going to be good for Nicholas Ivanoff.
Number 27 Ivanoff, 1 minute, 1.814 seconds. That includes a 2-second penalty for incorrect level, gate number 3.
Okay, thank you.
You're cleared LTB.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be disappointed with that. Even if he didn't have the 2-second penalty, he's not giving down a run fast enough, in my opinion, to beat Matt Hall. There it is. Well, what happened there, Mike?
He's just getting a little bit behind, what he wants to do with the line. He's real quick trying to slap the wing level as he goes through the gate, and he misjudged it. So we'll see what happens with Matt Hall. He's got to improve on this.
Matt Hall, Australia. 2015, our goal is to become more consistent. We looked at Nigel. He won the championship by just being the most consistent pilot. That's our goal.
Everyone is conservative with their goals. There's a good shot of Matt Hall in those brand new winglets. He's flying the MXSR Racer. You see, has beautiful wheel pants, those yellow wheel pants that cover the wheels. I know that was a little bit obvious, but I referenced that. Remember when Nigel takes off in just a few moments? We'll get back to that. Here he comes, Matt Hall, 198 knots.
All right, he's got good speed, nice cadence in the chicane. He's actually a little bit behind in his turns. Let's see how he does in 3. Looks level from here as he heads over to gate 4. Nice level, one of the lower turns, but tracking well in altitude. Gets his wings down just before the gate, so he's very sure of his line. Clean so far as he goes into gate 6. Keeping it down level around 7 in the red zone, and then back through the start-finish gate. That we've seen a little bit of an issue here. He's clean. Nice line into the chicane again.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good. He must go through error-free. In the round of 14, he did strike a pylon over at gate 5. That looked awful close to me, Mike, if he got his wings level.
Yeah,
on what I call gate 3 or 10. Yeah,
gate 3 or 10, depending on your lap. He's a little climb, a little bit off right now. Something's got him rattled, but he's picking it back up. Looks like he's back on his line through 6. 7, he's keeping the aircraft nice and low. This is going to be a good time for Matt Hall and a clean run.
Stand by, under review.
Not a good sign when you're under review.
Spoke too soon.
Exactly.
Number 95 Hall, 58.520 seconds. No penalties. That round cleared to advance to the final 4.
Boy, a look of relief on Matt Hall's face.
Sure.
He knew he was close, bitter close to keep him within the rules. Talk us through it, Mike.
What it takes to be a winner. You got to be right on the edge. Through the chicane, he gets a little late in that last turn. He's trying to get that right turn as we see the ghost image here between him and Ivanoff. Now, Nicholas is going a little bit higher, so he slows down. You see Matt picks it up, but then as Nicholas comes down the hill, you see the ghost airplane start to catch up, but not enough to catch up with the flatter turning MX that Matt Hall's flying. So that's why the flat line is the choice of most pilots as they go around that turn.
Okay, here we go. The match of the day. The second time we're going to see Nigel Lamb and Paul Bonhomme, the countrymen, battling it out. You mentioned they live very close to each other, Mike.
Oh, these guys, they've known each other for many years. They fly warbirds together.
Nigel Lamb, Great Britain.
Personal goals for the season are to fly aggressively, smoothly, and hope that we can be just as competitive as we were last year.
Not too sure what these pilots think of this new format. It doesn't matter. This is the modus that we're flying. These are the fastest pilots in the round of 14. They're coming at you now. Paul Bonhomme and Nigel Lamb. This is going to be exciting. Anything can happen. It's going to be a major upset regardless of the outcome.
Well, as you alluded to earlier, Nigel's out here without his wheel pants on for some reason, so he's got a lot of drag. Maybe he had a flat tire. We'll find out later, but he's really got his work cut out for him. He's slapping the wings level. He's trying to go fast. He's got to do whatever he can to make up for the increased drag without those wheel pants.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Those wheel pants you wouldn't think make a big difference, but they certainly do. Nigel's got to be error-free. Certainly cannot afford any penalties. Now remember, halfway through the course, anything under 29 seconds is good. Comes in a little over 29 seconds. We don't have a time to compare him to yet, but it's not
there
going to
he's
be
slow.
the
There he's
fastest
slow
run.
again out of the chicane. This is very typical. I firmly believe he's got his ailerons not even. In other words, his right roll is a little bit too touchy. He can't control it, and he overbanks and descends. As he comes around the backside, going through our gate 6 or 13 for the last time, down in the red band, perhaps error-free, but nowhere near the speed he needs to move on.
Let's get the official call from race director Jim DiMatteo.
Number 9 Lamb, 59.576 seconds, no penalties.
Okay, he acknowledges at 59.57. He flew a 57.01 in qualifying. 2 seconds off the pace.
Right, there was his whole team. His son Max is his big computer expert. As Nigel goes through the chicane, nice cadence here. Watch what happens. He tends to overbank. This is his first lap. The second lap, he's going to overbank on that right turn, and this is going to cause a descent that gets him into this low call or looking at the lower edge of flying. The pilots have to control the bank angle. As you know, once you exceed the 90 degrees of bank, that's when the airplane starts to descend. Yeah, really good shot.
Step on a rudder to keep the nose up. That is a good shot of the lack of wheel pants. Yeah. That extra drag on the aircraft. That could be the difference. 2-second difference. Okay, coming up next, it's Paul Bonhomme.
Great Britain.
Here comes 2015, and once again, we are certainly going to be trying to win.
Always the ambassador, going to try to win. Never tips his hand, if you will. Paul Bonhomme, here it goes. Anything can happen, Mike. Don't guarantee a victory here, but he has to beat 59.5 seconds. You would think he would. Let's check his entry speed. 197, well within the 200-knot speed limit.
Paul's got a nice cadence through that chicane. Nice through gate 3. You see he's keeping the low altitude turn, level turn into gate 4. Dealing now with that left to right crosswind as he makes the setup into 5 clean, and then number 6. The big turn here, we're calling this Cornish corner as he comes around pylon 7 in the red zone. Nice line here, the start-finish gate straight into the chicane. Paul's spot on again. This is textbook out of our world champion, Paul Bonhomme.
He's won in Abu Dhabi 3 times before. Recently, as last year, he's a full second ahead of countryman Nigel Lamb to earn a spot into the Final Four. It's Paul Bonhomme. He would have to make a very egregious error right now to not advance to the Final Four. We won't see that out of the Brit. Great flying as it's a final push for home. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Bonhomme is going through to the Final Four with a 58.094.
And number 55 Bonhomme, 58.094 seconds. No penalties, and that holds you winning that heat and advancing advancing to the Final Four. Congratulations. Cleared RTB.
Oh, bittersweet victory, sort of. I guess he has to beat basically his neighbor and countryman, Nigel Lamb. But let's take a look at these replays.
All right, this is textbook how you want to race the course. Wings level, airplane in a slight unload, accelerating. Here he goes into the chicane. You start the turn before the gate, reverse immediately to the left. As soon as you're by it, roll back right. This is a training film. This is what this is. The actual way you want to do it. You see the Nigel Lamb's airplane already behind Bonhomme. Both of them electing to stay level. Nigel even dipping low, looking for more speed, but he just can't keep up with the Bonhomme aircraft. I do believe Paul's airplane is slightly faster than Nigel's.
Particularly without the wheel pin, to be sure. It's kind of funny, Nigel did get that low call in qualification, but that doesn't stop him from trying to get in that ground effect and find some extra speed.
Yeah.
You know, you never really want to challenge the judges, but that's okay. Like you said, you have to go for broke and fly on the edge of the envelope if you want to win at the Red Bull Air Race World Championships.
Cleared in for some shots. We'll let you know when the planes come back.
Yesterday, you alluded to the sun as being a bit of a factor this late in the day. Do you think this is going to play into our Final Four?
Yeah, as we get towards the evening hours here, you know, we're in the winter time here in Northern Hemisphere, so we have early sunset, and the sun is right in the eyes of the pilots as they run in gate 1, chicane to gate 3. So it's very bright. It's hard to get good depth perception. It can make your judgment a little bit cloudy, if you will, as they go through. So the later hours, the visibility is tougher, but the temperatures are dropping. And it looks like even the winds are subsiding. So some of the air conditions are better. Maybe the visual conditions are not quite optimal. But I think this is a better time to race in the evening hours.
Okay, to set the stage, all previous rounds, just throw them away. It doesn't matter how fast you've gone. You have no one to beat head-to-head now. Basically, I guess you're in sort of a head-to-head of 4 pilots. I mean, there's only going to be one person knocked out of the podium in the Final Four. 3 will make it. Great shots of action earlier.
The Hanisar coming around, and then Pete Mcleod, the new Garmin livery on his airplane, and new wingtips for Pete. He's in the Final Four, obviously. See who else we got. We have a shot of Matt Hall and, of course, Paul Bonhomme. That's our Final Four. There he is, Matt Hall with the new wingtips. Look at the smoke right in line. I think this all helps Matt's flying. He's peaked in the beginning of this season.
These are all familiar names from last season. Guys, regulars battling it out for podium positions.
Paul's airplane, the big change is the cowling. Wade Hammond and Apollo worked hard early last year, actually, and now they finally manufactured it in the short off season. They got it on the aircraft, and this has definitely given some more speed to Team Bonhomme.
Paul Bonhomme was our fastest qualifier. He made it through to the round of 8 by beating countryman Nigel Lamb. And again on to the round of 4. There's a great shot of Nigel Lamb. A little disappointed, but probably not too I don't even know the word I'm trying to say. He would expect not to do well without those wheel pins.
He can't be that disappointed. Looking back on the times in this round of 8, the fastest time was put in by Matt Hall, 58.52. So he's going, Paul Bonhomme at 58.09. These two are the 2 favorites as you go in here, which is kind of what we've seen in training. So the other guys, Hanisar flying first, has got to lay down a good mark, and then Matt Hall, Paul Bonhomme flying 3rd and 4th, get to go to school on what the other 2 did. So this should be a real battle right up until the end as to who's going to be the champion here in Abu Dhabi.
Well, if history is any indication, those first 4 heats in the round of 8 were very close, particularly the Arc Besenyei and Mcleod Muroya heat. Those were extremely close.
Interesting to see on Matt Hall, the left side of his chest, you see 2 white hoses. He's actually got a cooling system, a jacket that he wears, and you can see them hooking it up right here now. They're going to run some cooling fluid to keep his body temperature down so that he is at the top of his game physically when he gets out here on the race course.
Good strategy indeed by the Australian. I'm telling you, Matt Hall coming in with all kinds of changes, winglets to his aircraft.
Well, he's doing whatever it takes to be a winner, much like Hanisar right here. every little facet, any place you haven't thought of something, these guys are finding a way to get an advantage. Paul Bonhomme, under the weather, you can see the strain on his face. Let's just hope they're all physically fit. Third flight of the day as they come out for the final 4. You can see that flag, camaraderie flag blowing. This is from the north to the south, which is the uncharacteristic wind that we've had. And again, look at this right here. A very typical shot. It shows you what the heat is a factor. Paul Bonhomme taxiing around with his canopy open. It's so hot in the cockpit that they've got to do anything to do to cool themselves down. Could this create other problems? Well, you got to make sure that when you take off, all this stuff is latched properly, and that as you move out here to the course, the airplane's in a proper condition to fly. But this is another indication of how the heat is affecting these pilots. Well, we go to many, many locations around the world, and this is probably one of the hottest here in Abu Dhabi. And this time of year, you can get any temperature. We're up in the 30 degrees Celsius range. We're going to go to other places across the globe, and we'll see different temperatures as we go. Spielberg, we're going to Chiba, Japan, Sochi, Russia. Could be very, very cold.
Good shot of the tour map now. Circle the globe, Mike. We start off here in Abu Dhabi, where the temperatures are hot, even though it's winter time for
Abu Dhabi. A great place to start. We've been here. Chiba, Japan is new for us this year, just outside of Tokyo, on the water type course again. Who knows what the temperature is going to be, but totally new location, home for Yoshi. From there we go to Sochi, Russia. All right, Sochi, the site of the Winter Olympics. We're expecting cooler temperatures here. Again, a new location for us. A new course. So the pilots, it's a whole new or even playing field when they go there.
And then they move on again across the pond. Next stop, Budapest. That's a familiar stop. Beautiful setting and massive crowds. Being home to Hungarian Peter
Budapest,
Besenyei.
hopefully we fly under the chain bridge. That's the trademark of Budapest, home race for Peter Besenyei. From there, we're going to move up to Ascot. We were there last year. What a fantastic race that was. We're hoping to repeat that, but now we're over land. We're in the forest tracks. The visuals are unbelievable with the green setting. Nigel Lamb, the winner. Paul Bonhomme, his home race. Going to be a great battle.
That was arguably the most popular race of the 2014 season, and then we go to where we concluded 2014, Austria. Spielberg
is another overland course. It's not a level track. Temperatures can be cool right there. From here, we jump to our home country, the U.S., and the Motor Speedway racers.
Yes, my hometown, Fort Worth, Texas. Texas Motor Speedway, where Nicholas Ivanoff found a way to win. Again, over land, and very challenging with obstacles and visual.
These NASCAR tracks are difficult because they're not level either, and there's a lot of obstacles for the pilots to deal with. The visuals are very difficult because everything blends in. And, of course, the winds are notorious in Las Vegas.
That's what we saw last year as we were wind shortened on race day. So those are our stops this year in the 2015 Red Bull Air Race World Championship. Okay. Good-looking crowd shots out here today. The beaches are filling up, setting the stage for the Final 4. Our first pilot coming up in just a moment, but here's a listing of who's made it through. As you can see, Hannes Ark's going to be first up, then the Canadian Matt Hall, and then Paul Bonhomme. You mentioned Hall and Bonhomme really have the advantage with the faster runs. But Ark, I mean, he can pull a rabbit out of the hat at any moment.
These guys are all fast. It's going to be a great battle right here. So we'll see what Hannes is going to give us. Let's see what he has.
He's going to have to go more to his round of 14 time, 57.65, if he expects to get onto the podium. Okay, smoke is on. This is for all the marbles. Hannes Ark from Austria, right at 199 knots. He's definitely going for broke, Mike.
All right, that means he's in control. That's where you want to be, 1 knot below the limit. Nice presentation through 3. Hannes is trying to fly clean. This is what we talked about for him. He's told us himself that's his main goal. Through gate 4, gate 5, dealing with that crosswind, clean. He's low in the red zone. And gate 6, a little bit higher, that looks better as he comes around 7. The Corniche corner, nice in the red zone. And a little adjustment there. start-finish gate into the chicane again. Nice line. Hannes on the low side. He's got to be careful here. You don't want to get a big penalty through gate number 3 or 10 for the second lap. As he comes around the backside of the course, a little bit wide, and we're already getting a penalty here from our gate number 5, which is the gate he's passing right now. He looks clean from our vantage point as he goes into 6, around 7 to the start.
Okay, he's going to set the pace for the rest of the field. Coming through the brightly start-finish gate, it's Hannes from Austria. Let's wait for the official time. It's under review.
Under review.
Another perhaps penalty at this finish late. This is not going to work for Hannes. Not here, unfortunately.
Number 22 arc, 1 minute, 0.233 seconds. That includes a 2-second penalty for incorrect level, gate number 5.
He looks perplexed. That's a live in-cockpit view. That is not the way to start if you're Hannes. You do not want to come in with a time greater than a minute. Let's check out the replay.
Slow-mo replay as he comes through. Again, rolling early has been his plague, really, since Spielberg last year. So he's just got to show the wings level when the fuselage reference point, which is the in between the 2 air gates, and he's just starting to roll. This looks like about 5 meters, it may be less early, but that's how precise they have to fly out here in order to get through clean.
Yeah, but you did say they have to fly with reckless abandon and go straight to the bitter edge if they expect to win. Okay, coming up next is Pete Mcleod. Now look at those qualifying times in that round of 14. Those would not be fast enough to beat Hannes's time. But his round of 8, he found additional speed somewhere. The Canadian with new branding and a new paint scheme, the youngest of our Red Bull Air Race pilots, being directed onto the racetrack by race director Jim DiMatteo.
You know, he's young, but certainly no rookie, because he's been around now since 2009. We're not going to call him a rookie anymore, but he's sure. You know, I look at him; he's young. He's the future of the air race. Nice contract with the Garmin folks.
Number
good sponsor.
84 Mcleod cleared into the track. Smoke on.
The Red Bull Air Race is this young man's life, and he is out to make it to the podium right off the bat in 2015. Let's check his entry speed, 197 knots. Well done, Pete.
All right, nice cadence through the chicane as he sets up here through gate number 3. Looks clean. Moderate height on the turn, so he's got a good vantage point. And now it's just deal with the left to right crosswind going through these 3 gates. Get yourself set up in between them. He's clean through 5. He heads over to gate 6. Wings level. Here's that Corniche corner. Digging to stay level in the red zone around pylon 7. Through the start-finish gate, a slight climb and a bobble.
Let's take a look at his intermediate split, and he's behind Hannes by 0.16 seconds. Incredibly, he's behind Hannes. He must navigate error-free. He cannot certainly afford any penalties, Mike. Incredibly, Hannes may outdo the Canadian. We'll have to see, just a few gates left, and he's further behind Mike, 0.19.
We'll see. Hannes certainly opened the door for these other folks to finish above him. Nice run for Pete as he's coming around to the finish.
Number 84 Mcleod, 58.843 seconds. No penalties, and that currently holds you in first place.
Look at the grin on the young Canadian. Managed to hang on. He was behind Hannes. If Hannes did not have that 1-second penalty, well, still, it would have been very, very close. But Pete Mcleod finds a way to find himself on the podium in the very first race of 2015. He's accomplished his goal, Mike.
Yeah, he sure has. Started off where he did last year. He did a good showing here in Abu Dhabi. As we see him go through the chicane, pretty nice cadence through there, good altitude control. So he's got control of this aircraft. He's doing his rolls properly. He's throwing, leveling out as he gets through the gauge, showing a nice presentation to the judges. And that's what it's all about, is flying clean and not incurring a penalty. Finally, some emotion out of one of these pilots. So Pete's happy. He's done for the day. That's probably why we're seeing this emotion, because they all get to stay out of the cockpit, relax, have an adult beverage or so, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Another great crowd shot. Big crowds on hand here on the beaches at Abu Dhabi. The Arabian Gulf, the Corniche area. Oh, there's a good testament to how hot it is, Mike. Look at Paul Bonhomme. Okay, coming up next, Matt Hall, the Australian. He has laid down some very fast times all week. but he's been inconsistent today, kind of bouncing up and down. What run will we see from Australian Matt Hall? Racer number 95 with a brand new setup on the wings, the winglets, if you will. Hopefully making him corner better.
There's an interesting strategy because he knows that Hannes got the penalty. He could fly safe and he's guaranteed a spot on the podium. Or he can go for it and he can be on the top step on the podium. So this is what's going through Matt Hall. I think we all choose to go for it. You know, you want to go for the top rung on the ladder, and I'm sure that's what Matt's going to do.
Good shot at race director Jim DiMatteo. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're here to compete. You're here to win. He's definitely going to go for it. Let's check his entry speed. He must be below 200 knots, and he is. 197. It must be a clean run, Mike. He's got to be under 58.84 to better Pete Mcleod.
All right, in the MX Racer as he goes into the turn. Nice track. Opens up the radius a bit. Trying to set himself up through this 4, 5, and 6 combination, which are the S turns. There is a little left to right crosswind still out here today. As he comes around on pylon 7, he's in the red zone, oh, barely. And now through the start-finish gate, is it a straight entry into the chicane? Yes. So he's got a nice line going, good speed for our second lap. Matt Hall, very nice presentation, level turn.
He's in the green right now. Now, one interesting fact, Matt Hall has never won a Red Bull air race. Right now, he's in position. He's in the green. If you check out those intermediate splits, it's the final push for home. Error-free so far. He's got to be at that red band level through gate number 7. To the brand new start-finish line. It is Matt Hall in first place, 57.871.
Number 95 Hall, 57.871 seconds. No penalties, and that currently holds you in first place.
Look at that victory roll, Mike. Now, that is a victory roll. Matt Hall, very excited, thumbs up. He doesn't know what to do. He's never been on the podium in first position. There's only one man that can ruin that dream, and that is veteran Paul Bonhomme. Check out this replay.
He's not there yet. As he goes through the course, he's flying a little wider than the others. And again, that's because he's got these winglets on this MX. So he's not as tight in the chicane, nor can he be with those vertical stabilizers, if you will, on the wingtips. So proper form for a wingleted airplane. But in other places, his airplane's tracking very true through the air, even air down both sides of the fuselage. And he's found his mark as far as dealing with this crosswind and the 4, 5, and 6. This was a great run for Matt Hall.
Yeah, his crew is very happy. And there's that victory roll. He even takes his hand off the stick, Mike. He doesn't care. There he goes one more time around. Matt Hall putting himself in great position to beat this man, Paul Bonhomme.
Well, Paul's had some pretty good times, you can see there. But I think the heat and his ill health, if you will, may be taking a toll on him. The heat's getting to Paul. It's getting to all these guys. This is their third flight today, and now we got to see their best performance.
Okay, here we go. Paul Bonhomme flew a 58.094 in the round of 8. We're now on the final 4. The fastest time thus far is 57.87. Paul would have to fly as fast as he's flown all day to beat Matt Hall from Australia and ruin the young man's dreams of his first Red Bull Air Race victory here in Abu Dhabi 2015. Paul, no stranger to the podium, been there 39 times with 15 victories, 2-time Red Bull Air Race world champion. Does he have what it takes to take one more victory and steal the victory, if you will, from Matt Hall from Australia? Racer number 95. Here he comes from Great Britain, Paul Bonhomme, a true crowd favorite. The winner here last year. Let's check his entry speed, 198. Looks good, setting into the chicane.
All right, nice textbook cadence again out of Paul. A little dip there, but he's still under control. Rather quick through gate 3, so he's stepped up his game. He's going to go faster on the roll-ins and roll-outs. Gate 4 is clean. You can see him pressing it. He's clean through 5, a little climb, descent, setting up through 6. So we're seeing a little more aggressive maneuvering, but this is what you got to do to fly faster. Paul knows it.
Check out his split times right now. It's very close, only 2/10 ahead of Matt Hall's time. Matt was very fast on the second half of the track, though.
Well, Paul's into green. This is where he wants to be. We can see that he's pushed his game up. He's trying some things here, and they're working. And all he's got to do is stay clean as he comes up on number 5, clean, 6, and then it's a big turn to the finish.
Well, he's lost some ground on Matt Hall. It's going to come down to this. Gate number 7 and a final push to the brightly start-finish gates. Let's wait for the call from race director Jim B. Mateo. 57.787. Will it be enough?
It is.
Number 55, Bonhomme, 57.787 seconds. No penalties, and congratulations. That holds you in first place.
And again, he steals victory. One more time for the victory roll. Paul Bonhomme narrowly escaping.
Well done, and you are cleared RTD.
Matt Hall flew at 57.87.
Cheers.
Paul Bonhomme flew a 57.78. How close do you like it, Mike?
Good. Team Bonhomme celebrating there. Nigel Warren is TC. Paul Iskold is aerodynamic expert. And, of course, Wade Hammond, a lot of credit for putting that cowling together. As we see Paul streaking in here. He's just got the aerodynamic modifications down. That's the secret on Team Bonhomme. And, of course, you got a pilot like Paul that's very smooth, very textbook. This is as radical as you're going to see Paul fly. He's pushing himself. There's just such minor errors, a little climb here and there. But Paul normally very smooth, not giving up any miscues and flight control inputs, which increases your drag. These guys, I believe, are all about aerodynamics, about drag. This is why they're so fast out there.
Well, it was a very exciting push to the finish, and I had to hesitate for a moment just to make sure there was no video review or no penalties assessed. Paul Bonhomme pulls it out by the narrowest of margins here in Abu Dhabi, winning 2 years in a row. Now his 4th victory in very familiar turf. We've had 8 races here in Abu Dhabi.
Number 1 to land.
Yep.
I'm number 2.
And Paul's one half of them.
Yep. So he's very happy team, very tight, the whole round of 4. I mean, he just edges out Matt Hall, and Pete Mcleod's right there also. Poor Hannes, had he not had the penalty, he would have also been in the hunt. So this format has yielded us some very tight times in the final 4. Some of the faster guys, yeah, we lost them early on. You know, Nigel Lamb was gone. We saw Kirby had unfortunate technical difficulty, but these are the 4 that have prevailed here in Abu Dhabi 2015.
Thanks, Matt Hall still very happy with a 2nd place finish. That's going to put him in good position for World Championship points. Remember, you want to be consistent, like you said. Nigel Lamb with only 1 victory, but was on the podium quite often. He ends up winning the overall championship last year. Matt Hall, very consistent all week. All right, Jonathan Leggard is back at the race airport talking to one of our pilots that made it through to the final 4 and a gentleman that found himself on the podium. Let's check in with Pete Mcleod.
Wow, those times are close. But are you happy with 3rd place?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a challenging race for us getting the plane going and, you know, fighting a little bit of what we think are engine issues, testing things, start of the season always. So to come out with a podium finish is just, it's great. 2 days ago, I would have never thought this was going to happen.
But it's a great start to the season. And if you think back a year, you were fastest in qualifying and then got a podium. You've done it again. How encouraged are you that you can kick on in 2015?
Well, just really impressed with everything we put in place here at the race. With the team that ran great to give me a chance, fighting chance out there. And then I thought I executed well today. A small little error in the 1st round, but taking some of my lessons learned from last year, a little less aggressive, trying to be consistent and put myself in a place to be on the podium.
Well done.
Thanks.
Indeed, by the Canadian, he could not be more satisfied with the podium finish. I mean, that's what the goal is here. You want to get on that podium, top 3. Remember, World Championship points are assessed. The 1st place pilot gets 12 points, 2nd place 9, 3rd place 7, and so on down the line. Anyone in the top 3 or 4 still have all their hopes alive at winning the 2015 overall World Championship. Great shots, aerial shots of Pete Mcleod. That beautiful new paint scheme and branding flew very well. The one thing that impressed me most about Pete this week, Mike, like you said, no unforced errors, if you will. He didn't hurt himself.
Well, there's our final standings. Paul, Pete, Hannes. Nigel still finished a respectable 5th, and Peter Besenyei surprisingly in 7th. That's interesting. Poor Kirby and Michael Goulian, the Americans, boy, they're back at the bottom again, and they had such high hopes at the beginning of the week. So a little disappointment there. Our rookies, not too bad. They didn't finish last, so there's some little consolidation for the 2 rookies.
Point well made. Now there's Paul Bonhomme coming back, taxiing in that beautiful Edge 540. But we're going back now to the race airport and check in with another one of our podium finishers, a man that's surely going to be very excited. That's Australian Matt Hall.
Matt, 0.084 of a second away from winning the race. But second, are you happy?
Yeah, happy. To be on the podium, but to be that close is kind of frustrating. We flew a really good plan today. We apart from my pylon hit, I flew exactly the times and the lines I was hoping. So to miss by 0.08 of a second at the end, that's like just about a metre or so of aircraft length. So
close. But what about the winglets, the change to the aircraft? How responsible for your success all this week, really, where you've been among the fastest the whole time? How important, significant has that been, or have they changes been?
The winglets definitely are what's giving us that edge. So typically last year we were always hanging about half a second off the pace with those guys. I've now got capacity, and I think we've got room to move with them as well, because we still don't know which areas the maximum advantage is that I can target. So we're just trying to fly smoothly and let the winglets do their job, but we can do more.
So there's a warning to the rest of the field.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a warning, but I think I can get more out of the plane, so they can get more out of their planes as well. So we'll see what happens in Japan.
Boy, that is scary, Mike. He says he thinks he can get more out of that MXSR racer. That's Matt Hall, another good shot.
Well, that's the whole trick to this winning a world championship, is to see where you can get more. There's so many pilots, you heard it from Kirby last year, Michael Goulian, they're just frustrated. They go, we don't know what we can do to get more speed out of the airplane or out of themselves. But when you do see it, that's really the first and the hardest step. You see a problem, you'll find a solution. This is what Team Bonhomme, this is what I did when we won. It's just seeing the problem. And it's interesting to hear, what Matt's saying. I'm seeing a lot of maturity in him and his team as a racer. They've come a long way now in about 4 years of racing. It sounds like that's gelling. And so expect to see more of Matt Hall on the podium.
I am sure we will see more of Matt Hall throughout the season on the podium. And that man there, Pete Mcleod, 2 of the more popular Red Bull Air Race racers. Of course, they're all very popular, but Matt, a very approachable man, and Pete Mcleod just as much. They're very excited.
They have different styles in where they wear their ball caps, so I want to find out what's going on there. And here comes Paul Bonhomme. Another win under his belt.
Yeah, he's been there before. I guess this would be his 16th win, 40th podium position.
He's going to get weighed right now is what Paul Bonham's doing.
So they have to weigh the pilots to make sure everyone meets the proper weight. We wouldn't expect anything to happen there, just formalities, but you do have to stay within the rules. All right, let's check back into the race airport with Paul Bonhomme.
Paul Bonhomme, congratulations.
Thank you. That was a busy day's work.
Not by much, though. 0.084 of a second, but they all count.
No, exactly. Well, I'll take that one back from Ravinia last year.
But in terms of what it is about Abu Dhabi and Paul Bonhomme, this is your 4th win here in Abu Dhabi. What is it about the track? What is it about Paul Bonhomme that seems to breed success?
I'm not really sure. It's me, actually. I think the other teams are slow coming out of the blocks when the season starts, and I think our team, with the experience we've got, maybe a little bit quicker. But we'll see what happens in the next race. That might prove or disprove that theory.
Enjoy the moment.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, the wily veteran kind of telling it like it is, Mike.
Yeah, a little inside joke between him and Jonathan there from what happened last year in Croatia, an interview. But Paul is exactly right. He's a veteran. And, Paul, I can tell you, Paul's just the driver. Wade and Paulo are the guys that are doing the work on his team. They're coming up with these new cowlings. They're manufacturing it. Paul's a lucky man to have hired or employed or found such great support. And believe it or not, really that's the secret to his success. He can focus on driving. These other guys are preparing the airplane, getting modifications, keeping his team ahead of the others for the first race of the season.
Well, it is a race team. There's no doubt about it. The number 55 team of Paul Bonhomme Racing. And you're right, Wade Hammond's a fantastic technician. You couldn't live without him if you're Paul Bonhomme. He is the secret to their success. What a great day of racing here in Abu Dhabi. Hopefully it's going to be more good action throughout the year. Fantastic day of racing in Abu Dhabi as we get ready to do the flower ceremony, the podium finishers.
Right, this is out at the race airport. You know, the pilots, again, are about 10 kilometers south of the race location, so they're going to do a very quick awards ceremony we call flower giving at the race airport, and then they'll come up here later for the press interview. But we get to watch in on this as we see them stand on the podium and now receive the local foliage, if you will, from Abu Dhabi. Not much growing out here in the desert, but those are some pretty local flowers.
Paul Bonhomme certainly very excited and happy to be in the top position. Once again, for the fourth time, the victor here in Abu Dhabi. Kind of ruining Matt Hall's day, unfortunately, as he was looking for his first victory at the Red Bull Air Race. Well, it's been a lot of fun and a joy to work with you, Mike. My name is Mike Galloway, along with co-host Mike Mangold. Thanks for joining us here in Abu Dhabi, the 2015 edition of the Red Bull Air Race World Championship.
Perfect's never perfect, news already old. Gonna give you a reason not to feel so cold. I got something special kept right up my sleeve. Gonna give you a reason not to go